10 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
I see that Mo is here. Can't see him, but
Hi, hello. Hi,
Morning.
Eileen.
Good
Hi.
afternoon, actually. Hi, Mike. Hi, everyone.
hello. Joseph from Paris. Hot there. I thought you'd be in your bathing
Hello.
costume. Can't hear
Joseph
you.
is talking, but he's muted.
Hi, everybody. It's not from
So,
Paris. I am in Reims, but it's quite hot in France. Yes.
Last night's supposed to be the hottest night ever recorded or something.
yes, yes.
Yes.
Our apartment is next to a lake with an avenue of trees, so we have natural air conditioning. Air blows through. C'est à Créteil,
That, that's wonderful.
Créteil, which is in
Okay.
the suburbs.
So let's give it our usual 5 minute grace. There's a lot of new people who we don't know, so if it's the first time that you have, put in the chat your name, title, and email address so we can then follow up, and we've got a record of people who participated. So um, I see some really good friends from Africa, so we want to strengthen the activities there. So even Mo, you might be able to introduce them. I don't know. You probably know them more, at least some of them.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon again. I've brought the whole village with me this time. We've got a number of stakeholders who work in the blue economy, representatives of the Chinese government in Nigeria, and some of our key actors who are really excited to join. They all showed interest. So I do have a list, a table of names, which I would share to the secretariat after
That's
this.
fantastic. Fantastic. Anyway, so it's I don't know whether this is a part of Rent a Crowd. Okay, well, people are still joining. Who else do I see? I see Sophia in Athens. I Beatrice. I sent you the draft minutes.
Yes, we saw it. Thank you.
Good, good, good. Sophia, your background, your background is your signature.
Yes, I have to explain you what it is.
Yes,
There are small ceramic things representing the habitation of ancient Minoan Crete. So it is an image from the museum, archaeological museum of Heraklion in Crete, and I love very
fantastic,
much this image. Thank you.
fantastic, fantastic. Okay, we'll give it just share. So, okay, welcome to everybody. Um, I think that just first of all, the first part of the meeting that um, we'll just welcome everybody. Perhaps we have two working groups working, and I thought just literally just a few sentences just to say exactly where they are in their work and what do they see the next stage. So Aileen would you just say a few words about the whole working group? Hello.
Hello. Okay. Now we are now on ongoing process of working papers for and Heritopolis whole working papers. And we discussed the current status of contributions and the editorial framework and the timelines yesterday's meeting. And we also reflected on our participation of WOOF 13 in Baku. The discussions that took place during the forum, particularly those related to housing, metropolitan governance, resilience, and heritage. And also, we have highly connected to whole approach and the discussed topics in WOOF 13 in Baku. And also we are discussing other case studies and comparative research themes for future collaborations. And also we are thinking now the connection with the Horizon Europe Climate Adaptation and Cultural Heritage Call. The last situation is like this. Thank you very much.
That's great. And we have a second working group which is just evolving. Beatrice, perhaps you could just say also just a few words.
Hello, everyone. Yes, we are working on a small island group, and the process is still just starting, but we have been able to produce a document that is summarizing the characteristics of every island, and we are trying to find compatibilities between different islands. And then we will have more to share.
That's fantastic. So I'm going to speak about the cost and the climate just very quickly. In 2023, that's 2.5 years ago, we actually, almost 3 years ago, we presented a EU cost proposal, which is not for research, but it's just for meeting. That's something which we really should try and get, because that will give 4 years of support for having meetings together and getting Heritopolis off the ground. We didn't get our proposal, but we got a very positive evaluation, and Joanna from Krakow University of Economics is preparing then the proposal. It is open to a lot of people, not just simply the EU, so individual researchers from around the Mediterranean, Latin America, Africa have all got potential to be involved. The call is not yet open. It will be open, from Joanna told me, perhaps next week, but I think that you should, anybody who's interested, we want to have as many people as possible to join the cost proposal. We will attach to the minutes the previous proposal. It was called Hermit, Heritage in the Metropolitan IT. So that was sort of the keywords which we're using, and we're just looking then for people to order on that. Aileen mentioned about the climate. We thought of, if you remember the last meeting which we had, we heard from the Nature of Cities. They've already got their people together, and we agreed that we would go different ways. David Simon is coordinating the proposal for Heritopolis, and it will look therefore at climate and cultural heritage. And those who have already shown interest, I think that there's going to be a meeting next week which will then start gelling the proposal together. People who are unassociated are welcome, or from areas which they might find that are not eligible for the EU, are welcome to be part of Heritopolis Society, because Heritopolis Society registered in South Korea will also have the possibility of representation. So if there are people who are just independent, or they were not relevant for a particular country which has got the rights of participation will be able to join Heritopolis Society. So that's really where everything is. The other thing is that we are at the last stage of the Built Heritage Special Issue. Julia, have you got any update on that?
Hi everyone. Well, we have decided some accepted papers, but we are waiting for two more, I think. I guess we could give you more news in a few weeks, but we are waiting exactly for two papers.
Okay, so if you've missed this deadline, which you have, if you're not one of the two papers, there is a new proposal with the International Journal of Cultural Heritage Management to have a special issue on Heritopolis, and that will be sent around, seeing that we're not meeting during the July-August, the summer or the winter recess, depends which part of the world you're in, and we will then keep you informed through our newsletter. So that really...
But we have a deadline for this new special issue, or...
Joanna and Vera have agreed to be the joint editors. They met and they're just preparing then the proposal, which will be sent to the editors. The editors have agreed to entertain our request. So that's already the second one. We've got to, if we can't wait till the first one is published. We have to work on. There's lots of support. Okay. That's great. So let's. We have a lot of participants, and we have already the chapter of Latin America. But what is emerging is the Heritopolis, the chapter in Africa, and I'm handing over now the baton to Mo.
Thank you so much, Mike, and good afternoon, everyone, again from Lagos.
Oh, wait a minute. I can see Abdul Rahman here. If he's I can't see whether he's on board. Yeah. Okay. Are you going to start off? Because the first one was, in fact, to kick off with the porous activity. Are you all ready?
Yeah, I can proceed into the introduction, then I can go on after that.
Okay, so Mo, over to you.
Yes, I just want to open the floor and hand over back to Abdul. So in end of April, early May, we had an initial session in Rwanda. We were invited by the School of Architecture, Professor Josephine Malonza, and we had a delegation of about 12 people from the continent and on other areas of the world. It was a great session to discuss the agenda for Heritopolis-Africa. And I think in that session, Abu, Josephine, and myself defined what we're going to do. And I think that will make the crux of our presentation today. So I think that Professor Josephine is not able to join this call, but she has someone, Professor Maria, who's representing her. And I think I would just use that opportunity to go back to Abu, and then we can take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mo. Thank you so much, Mike, and all participants. Happy to be here. Mombasa is doing good. We are in a very cold season right now. It is unusual for Mombasa. The places in Kenya are very cold, but Mombasa always remains hot. They presented a few documents, I think two or three documents. The first one was the Porous Urbanism Collective, which came about as a way of thinking of ways we can get a very active chapter in Africa that reflects the lived realities of our urban cities. And the POC was in connection also to a training that we've been planning. Things have just been a little bit hectic at Swahili Port. We are marking 10 years of Swahili Port this year. So it's been a flurry of activities. We're working on a media launch that should be happening next week, and just about engaging a lot of stakeholders who we've been, working together for the last 10 years to make a solid event. So the hard training is still on hold, and hopefully our plan is to still at least do the first installment in July. By then, things will have settled down a bit at Swahili Pot as we're waiting uh, for the marking of Swahili Pot at 10 in October, alongside an Innovation Week, which we've had Heritopolis sessions for the last 2 years, that is last year and 2024, which have been very engaging. So in matters for us, Urbanism Collective, it's an idea to have a journal by Heritopolis-Africa chapter that traverses across the continent. And we're not just looking at it as a mere journal, but rather um, probably a continental knowledge infrastructure, because we're looking at articles from different aspects that define what it means to be an African city. So it's a lot of things. It can be, it's a journal. It can involve research work. It's an archive as well, and definitely a field building project. So perhaps the questions that we've also been grappling with is thinking of this perspective is perhaps three main questions. The first question is what new knowledge we would produce to the collective, and I'm saying this hoping that everybody has also gone through the document that we presented. So that is the first question. The second one would be the intellectual contribution this collective will bring on board as well. And the third one would, what knowledge would potentially emerge from this? And to answer the first question, what new knowledge would the publication bring? The thinking of it is more than just documenting African cities, but generating a distinct urban theory, that is based on the lived experiences in Africa, cultural practices, and also everyday challenges and things that we do as African cities. Because we've realized there's a lot of commonality, and this is where the prosody is coming in. Mo and I have been having a lot of discussions. Mombasa being a port city and Lagos being a port city as well. There's a lot of commonality. There's a lot of things that we can borrow from each other. If we even think of Kigali in this whole mix as well, Mombasa is being a port city and Kigali being inland in the hinterland, but also looking at not rather hinterland, but in a landlocked country, but also looking what are the commonalities we can have between Mombasa, Lagos, and Kigali. As far as intellectual contribution, we want to position this collective in between the existing literature on urbanism in Africa. So this cuts across planning and development, heritage and conservation, and also architecture and urban planning. So what we propose with the collective is we know that African cities are not defined by what they lack, because mostly I think we look at African cities based on what they lack, but rather by how they function, the porosity and through these permeability. How does formal structures and formal structures exist in the same place? We take very simple examples. In Mombasa, we have streets that during the day and it's a street that is full of but then in the evening it transforms into something else. It's street food from start to finish. So during the day it's from banking, and then at night transforms into something else. So these are the kind of formal and informality aspects that we're looking at to bring out through this collective. Another thing is to also imagine porosity as a defining characteristic of African urbanism, rather than just a symptom of underdevelopment. That is the second question on intellectual contribution that the collective is going to bring. The third question would be what knowledge could potentially emerge from working this collective of it in a 3-year period. We might not be able to do quarterly publications because of the work that is involved, but we could potentially look at having the first publication out maybe by October, September, October. Is something that we can discuss with the team more. Josephine, Professor Josephine, and also Maria was on call. We're bringing in colleagues from Technical University of Mombasa. Dr. Kalanda wasn't able to join. His apologies. Currently in class. And also thinking how we are also bringing in a collaborative with one university. It's taken some time to even get to sign an MOU between Swahili Port and one university, but we are still working together on mutual understanding because Pune University is the only homegrown university that is offering archaeology, anthropology, history, and we'll be supporting the students from Pune University to access and attachment and interpret at Swahili Pot. So some of the knowledge and the kind of knowledge that we foresee is that could potentially emerge from this, having an African urban theory that is focused or rooted in the lived African realities. Mombasa being a coastal city, you can look at coastal urbanism. We've been talking about feminist urbanism as well, how feminist labor has been creating and shaping ecosystems in Mombasa. Another thing you could look at is comparative African urbanism. I just gave an example of what exists in Lagos and what exists in Mombasa and how we can bring these two together. But also, most importantly, is to think how do the young people in Mombasa and Lagos translate and interpret and even utilize heritage. So that is the second one. The third one is heritage knowledge. To really think of how then we are creating a collective that can be a reference point for people who are interested in learning African urbanism. And some of the things that actually motivated us to think of this, we've been exploring some writings around African urbanism, especially the formality and informality in Mombasa, how the old and the new are existing together. And the more we kept publishing, the more we generated interest, even from people who do not live in Africa, but want to teach the informality of African cities to their students. So this is some of the things that really motivated us to come up with this idea of running this collective. We also need to address climate and environmental knowledge as well. We have a perfect example. Swahili Port is right next to, we have Fort Jesus Road Heritage Site, right next to us. And we have a very new seawall that has been built around Fort Jesus. But to also imagine that years back, women used to, instead of building seawalls, they used to knit together palm leaves, and then lay them along the shore, and they acted as, in the same way that a modern seawall would act. So these are things that we need to bring out in matters climate and environmental knowledge in this collective. That is just looking at how then we'll be running these articles. Right now, Mo and I, we've been really trying to look at people we can bring into Heritopolis-Africa. Very glad to have support of University of Rwanda, Professor Josephine, and to have Dr. Maria on board as well. These are the kind of minds that we need to guide this collective. We already have a structure in place that is still in the draft process, but it's also looking at how these brilliant minds within the continent can come in, to even serve as advisory and guide us in the activities that we're doing. So the kind of articles that we're looking at for the publication, essays about cities, as I've mentioned, comparative essays as well, urban observations, and visual essays. One of the things that we've been training is how we can leverage on the videography and photography classes that we're running at Swahili Port Hub to have these young people as the first cohort of the HAL training and to even come up with, as a product of the training, a sketchbook of sorts, that brings in different forms of writing, observations, visual essays as well, because Mombasa is a beautiful city. And the sad thing is that with increasing, Mombasa is really rising in its population. Just a couple of years ago, we were less than a million. The census shows that right now we're doing 1.6 million within Mombasa city, which is like a 4% increase. And the more people come in, the more we're bringing down old buildings, say, new structures, high-rise apartments, 15, 20 floors, and we are losing a lot of history and built heritage. And the fact that we do not have uh, a cultural policy that governs this also makes it very hard for us to even make noise about it. That we're losing a huge chunk of our built heritage through these urbanization. So it's also to bring in these young people to document what you already have. As much as we are fighting to have these policies, around 3 weeks back, we had supported by the Kenya National Commission for UNESCO, the NATCOM. We did a 3-day workshop that was aimed at drafting a culture policy for Mombasa County, which has not been, we've been making this. So this is something that we are working on right now, really fighting with the county government to have the draft passed through the county assembly. It's not an easy fight, but we are still pushing for that, because without that, then what you're talking about, even through the collective and through Heritopolis-Africa, through the hard training, cannot make much sense and might not have the regulation that it needs to make it sustainable. So those are the kind of articles we're looking at. But most importantly is to also bring in thinkers within the continent to have anchor essays within the collective. I think of people like Bembe, of Professor Weber, Professor Georgia Bumbu, Professor Josephine, and the team at University of Rwanda. Strong essays and work that anchors the collective within what we know as African cities.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is one part of an African contribution.
I think you're breaking up now, so I think that you were breaking up. So is that you? Did you finish the? You just were finishing the presentation. Yeah. Hello.
I think I'm losing on connection. Is
I think I put in the chat. I put in the chat the document and also the link to Swahili Pot and a little bit about Mombasa. I think that we're talking about Africa, where 24 of the top 25 countries, fastest growing countries in the world, are in Africa. And I think that this is, I think with the Heritopolis in Africa is going to be probably the most important activities over the next decade. And I think that whoever would like to look at this, the proposal which Swahili Pot have put on the screen, then I think that this, please just write, I'll put in Abdul Rahman's his email so you can directly contact him. And if your university or your activity is interested, this is something which, this is what Heritopolis is here to do. So that was really great. It's so exciting. You just have a look at the link to Swahili Pot. It is youth. I think they have youth till about the age of 35. I'm not too sure what the youth is. I feel I'm youth anyway. But so it includes everybody who is really in a mindset of being young. So please please join. but they are so exciting, young people from not just simply architects, but involved in their urbanism, whether it is theatre, whether it is arts. And this is where we need to be. This is what heritage is about. It's not just buildings, it's really about people. So, without further ado, I'm going to now hand over to our next presenter, Mo, from Lagos. So we're moving from East to West Africa.
Thank you very much. Can you all see my screen, please?
Yes, we're all here.
Good afternoon from Lagos again. My name is Mo Ajala. I'm the Lagos node of Heritopolis-Africa. I'm an architect, urban planner, but I do a lot of consultancy with the public sector in Lagos and Nigeria. I'm here presenting to Lagos, the Lagos-Shanghai Estuary Network Working Group. About 3 to 4 months ago, myself and Mike have been brainstorming about, what are the opportunities around water city and the Estuary Network. And I think I'm very glad to present this after 3 months of iteration. What we're really looking at is Lagos as the largest, densest city on the continent. Lagos as being the capital of commerce and trade, but Lagos also being an ecology of water bodies, lagoons and freshwater and the likes. The context really is to look at it from the lens of Heritopolis-Africa, knowing that a lot of work we do is backed by data, it's backed by research, and really seeing how we can really impact with active communities. I'm very happy that a lot of people who have joined this meeting today come from the active stakeholder groups in Lagos who are already working. And we see that the opportunities Lagos not just coming to Heritopolis as a project, but being a lab for us to explore. This was a key topic we really discussed intensely in Kigali, and we realized that the overlap between Mombasa, Lagos, and Rwanda would really go a long way. So really, what's the benefit? Why does this belong? I think that just yesterday we were in the whole working group, and we saw that a lot of the cities who were discussing were water cities, the cities which did have this ecology of a lot of lagoons, creeks, and whatnot. And I think for the fact that we can really have a case study around Africa being an example go along. I think also the fact that we already have an acting work on ground allows us to bring research, policy, action, and solution. This is what we talk about in Heritopolis, think and do. But more importantly, we also are exploring an economic and commercial relationship where we're looking at decolonization, modernization. There is a lot of relation between China, Africa. I think this platform can provide such an opportunity for us to better understand and overlap what this can mean or this would mean. So it's not just a waterfront project, it's really about applying the logic of Heritopolis to an African city and finding solutions. In terms of deep diving, you see the data. We do have 120 communities identified already across the estuarine ecologies. We do have 32 communities under enumeration and data. The fun fact is that the team from the Blue Lagos are here, but they really are engaging. They did have an on-field day today, and I think this is some of the things that we want to understand. How are Africans exploring African problems? Are they finding African solutions? And we do have about 9 communities directly being engaged on a day-to-day. The question here is, how can Lagos answer that point? What exactly does it mean to explore and engage a waterfront, water ecology for livelihood, for identity and resilience? So I would be very happy to introduce Blue Lagos. Blue Lagos not only is the general idea here, but then again, it is an ongoing initiative carried out by local actors who are doing 3 major things: community mobilization, governance integration, and blue economy inclusion. As a matter of fact, the agency is called the Blue Economy Agency, prepared to really engage and support people. So this is where we see the opportunity and readiness, where Heritopolis provides the opportunity, and we already have actors in Lagos ready to engage. As usual, we would apply the critical helix model, and by ensuring that we already have government policy, research, industry and trade, society as usual. But on that approach, that action, we do have three layers. And the three layers are very, very clear. Nature, we see the similarities around the estuarine ecology in Lagos with that of Mombasa. As a matter of fact, they have so much in common, especially around bird migration, resilience to flooding, that we think that might be an angle to explore. We talked about decolonization and the movement to modernization. How has China done this around its own systems? The bond, the Shanghai bond is an example to explore. And then for Kigali, we look about the culture, the heritage. There is a lot of youth across these three cities, Kigali, Lagos, and Mombasa. What is really the conversation in that triangle that we're trying to explore? So for layer one, around, the policy and research, it can be a lot of understanding or understudying of the bird migration, which moves from Lagos, westward, and then moves from Mombasa eastward. And the question would then be, what exactly are the necessary tools, necessary resources that needs to be used to understand that? On the community implementation side with Kigali, we're looking at things around community engagement and social housing or affordable housing or some level of sustainable infrastructure. We're very clear that Professor Josephine and the team in University of Rwanda have gone really further in terms of that level of research. That would be a classic way for us to, share knowledge and review with them. And on the third layer is diplomatic and commercial. Like I said, there is a strong China, Nigeria, Africa cooperation. What does that mean? We just opened a long corridor by the Atlantic called the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. That is something that we want to explore. We've got representatives from the Chinese embassy here as well, who are Nigerian, but also work in that interface. So these are the layers that we see working with the Heritopolis infrastructure on the continent. So the key point now is how does Lagos complement Mombasa and Kigali? Just like Abu has explained, the porous urbanism really for us looks at a knowledge production approach. So by following what they're doing in Mombasa, what Abu is leading in Mombasa, we're able to understudy how to leverage on that. Lagos becomes the living lab. So ideas, concepts can be explored. Can we work with communities to write their own stories? We think that the opportunity here really is that we already have an existing interest to engage. And then lastly, educate the next generation in Kigali. The mere fact that we're going to have a leading certification program on heritage conservation and development goes a long way to look at African problems with African solutions for global support. So we see that overlap with the existing node system and opportunity to produce more. So for just not to deep dive, but just to mention that, if you want to look at it, the Lagos Mombasa is natural heritage and the urban sponge. Like I've explained, we already have examples of Lagos Lagoon, Marina Lagos, similar to Tudor Creek and Fort Jesus in Mombasa. So these are some of the push and pull considerations and things that we can look at. Similarly for Lagos and Kigali, where we're looking at, cultural heritage and community participation. We have a lot of cultural reintegration in Lagos and a lot of preservation in Kigali. These are some of the key points that would really go a long way. But then again, with Shanghai, really, it's about understanding how the bond came to be. We say Shanghai is a comparative reference, not a template, but where's the Lagos bond? And by that, we're saying why we're looking to Shanghai is pretty much around the waterfront, core, urban connectivity, and the cultural and public destination identity. These are things that we already see layers and layers of in Lagos, but then again, we can reference, we can engage, and we can understudy. And one of my most exciting slides on this presentation, he talks about on the top half, you see what the Shanghai bond is, in terms of that flow of the corridor around its water ecology. And then on the bottom half, you see what Lagos is currently as well, another water, heavy city. But then again, the evolution of how this also can become where similarities in colonial ports, in administrative, commercial, and future expansion. So we see the similarities, and we're very happy to explore that in terms of. Sure. Now, in terms of working structure, I think myself and Mike have spoken about this, and I've spoken to Abu about this. We see three major um, pillars or layers, like you said. And in the first layer, we talk about the existing actors on the Lagos side. We do have a local or a regional entity around blue economy, but we also have a national entity around blue economy. And we really want to see around what policy looks like, what alignment and resource mobilization would be. And then back to the community. What can the community present? How do they want to share the data? What kind of requests are they asking for? And lastly, defining or developing this global estuary network, not just in Africa, not just with Lagos and Shanghai or the larger Pearl Delta River ecosystem, but also a global narrative around New York, London, Rome. What are the lessons to be learned there? And then on the sub levels, we're looking at sub working groups or sub working engagements, where on the continent we would operate this as a Heritopolis secretariat. I'm very happy to receive more feedback from anyone on the call today in terms of how we can put some of this. And we're just open to ideas. These are some ideas that are open to be changed or upgraded. Additionally, in terms of the working group, we really say this: the Blue Lagos provides Heritopolis with a unique opportunity to launch an estuary working group that begins in Africa, led by Lagos and Mombasa, and allows us tap into a global network. And on the bottom left, on the mid bottom left, you see a table of potential cities: Lagos, Mombasa, Abidjan, Douala, Port Harcourt, Alexandria, Durban, Maputo. And then on the right, the global case study: Shanghai, New York, Cardiff, Rome, London. And in that kind of, looking in and out, we're able to really come up with a strong working group objective and structure. In terms of what's also really happening as a third space, we know there's something called the China people-to-people policy ongoing, which we're really being integrated into in Nigeria. And I think on the continent, I think we can also turn a lens into that. What are the things that need to be looked into? How are they beneficial? How can they be supported? Because there's already this relationship. The point here is how can we use Heritopolis infrastructure to begin to assess and understand it, what's beneficial for the continent. This is my invitation to everyone here to participate. Lagos serves as a living lab. In the lab, we really need to involve all of the blue economy, but we really are asking for, we're looking at four major statements: recognizing Lagos as an African history and metropolis, creating a Lagos knowledge exchange, form a post-meeting working group where a lot of our stakeholders on the Heritopolis Global Network can begin to look at this and what are the things to look at, learn, to write about, to investigate, and then perhaps kick off by the next quarter, which is October to November and to December, and seeing what we can begin to do. I know there's already existing work that Mike and the others have done, but how can that be relevant to us on the continent? The order: Heritopolis frames it, Lagos owns it, communities found it, Shanghai, China, it, and then we prototype to demonstrate what can happen. And that's it. So this is a bit about me and what we do in Lagos and Nigeria. And thank you, everybody. I will stop sharing now.
That was amazing. So I know that Moses is listening in from New York, and I don't know whether he can also speak. I know that he's listening in, so I'm just asking whether Moses can actually say say anything? Because in fact, one of the things was in fact New York, and last year we actually had an incredible presentation of New York and the urban sponge, and this whole issue of the role of natural heritage and cultural heritage in the metropolis. Who else? Well, please, anybody who would like to join this emerging working group, Estuarine, we all working group Estuarine Metropolises. Some comments. Julia, what about this? Is Seville?
Hi, folks.
Oh,
This is
Moses.
Moses. Hi,
Yeah.
sorry I'm driving. I cannot really talk. But I was listening to the presentation. I thought it's terrific. And I really thank Mo for putting together this working group. I think that there's so many big metropolises throughout the world that share the same geographic typology, and that our futures are going to be very similar. And starting to discuss this in the context of climate change and cultural heritage and the other geographic realities we're going to encounter is going to be super valuable. So I'm really looking forward to collaborating, and I hope everybody else who is an archipelago on a river delta and is going to face these challenges also will join.
Well, thank you. Drive carefully. Julia.
Hi everyone. Well, in our city we have some common problems because we have a crazy increase of our temperatures. Right now we are near 44 degrees. So we have to implement some measures in order to mitigate the situation in the city center and in our public spaces, because our immaterial heritage is dangerous because we cannot use the city with this situation. Even we have two rivers surrounding the city, and the municipality is very interested or is looking pay special attention to this new natural heritage in order to compensate our situation in the city center. So we are thinking how to put together or how to join our city center with this area near the rivers. So maybe no, maybe I think we have a lot of problems in commons.
Who else would like to make some comments? Joseph, you're very much in the bioregions.
I'm discovering Lagos and its amazing water that surrounds us. I was looking on the map. There's a sort of duality. Well, it's a distance duality between the Niger Delta on the other hand, and if I understand correctly, there are enormous problems there with pollution from the petrol industry. I don't know if that has an influence on what happens in Lagos. I don't know how the currents go in that direction. But Lagos looks like a fascinating city. I wish I could visit there. Also to see the interface between wildlife and the people, because I can imagine that wildlife must be just so rich, and unlike European cities where you hardly ever see animals anymore.
Well, I think that we're really looking at waterfronts as not just simply urban; it's also natural. So this is what the dynamics of this is really exciting. I don't know whether you would like to speak about the Pearl River Delta.
Oh, yes. Actually, is there are a lot of I mean, Macau is not really useful for me in this case, but yesterday actually I also have some discussions related to this case. During the presentation, we were typing privately on the chat. So actually, I mentioned I'm currently in Shanghai, and I also working for the waterfront heritage in Shanghai. And I believe maybe for that part, I can make more contributions. For the other part, for example, Macau, Hong Kong, and the other part, Guangzhou. I'm still thinking like what kind of comparison that can make, or what kind of contributions that maybe me and my friend that we can make for this case. I still don't know, but for sure for the Shanghai, for example, if there is any like necessary for corporations or if I can contribute for anything with the Shanghai case, especially for the river side, and like I can really give a lot of information here because I'm also currently working for this type of heritage and this type of policy and legislation related. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Jorge, do you want to say something? You're not really on an estuarine metropolis, or yes?
Oh, hello. Oh, I want to say something. Yes, because we in Santo Domingo we have some challenge like this in Lagos. We have the historical center at an strategic point with two waterfronts, the Caribbean Sea and the Osama River. And this river, the Osama River, is now is transforming because we have many people living in dangerous conditions at this border, and the government have planned a kind of connection structure to transform the river. But it's a natural resource too, because we have they call it the green belt. Is like green zone around the river that is invited, but by commercials, industrial, some kind of problems. But this kind of view of perspective at this point is very interesting. At the Caribbean, we have problems with the rain. The city of Santo Domingo, we have torrential sort of rainings that now we are thinking what to do with the city that cannot manage that amount of water that we have in rains recently, and how the border, the waterfront can apport some solutions to this transformation in natural heritage, in cultural heritage, because the colonial city of Santo Domingo is in this kind of danger too, and this experience is very interesting for us. What is this kind of vision is very interesting to take some lessons.
Well, thank you so much. This is, I think Mo is very excited about that. I think and thanks Maria she's so please feel free, not just simply as individuals, as landscape architects or whatever discipline, but also as universities to take on board part of this. Maria, do you want to say something on that?
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Mo, for this interesting presentation. The lagoon is an important environmental and landscape element in the city. And as I also wrote to Mo, I also read that in February this year there has been the vast destruction and the eradication of the shanty towns in the lagoon. I mean, this is a place where several infrastructures are overlapping, and it's important to tackle the lagoon not only from the ecological point of view and not only from the cultural, but also from the social point of view, because a lot of people were able to survive due to the fact that they were living in this lagoon. Then it's a major issue that needs to be considered while addressing this area, together with, I was wondering which are the plan for the future of this lagoon, the municipality plan, or if there are a state plan for this area. That it will be interesting to know what they have in mind, because if I could remember, there was also an idea of reimagining a different form of urbanization of the area. And then if we can have more information, will be really useful.
Well, that's we'll just give a last word to Mo, and then we'll move over to our third discussion. Mo, you want to try to wrap up? It's not a wrapping up, it's just really to take on board some of the ideas and then continue the discussion.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Mike. I think the actions are very clear. Yes, we do have an ongoing engagement and interaction. What I do see as Heritopolis bringing is a network, a global network and pool of knowledge and resources to really tackle Lagos. Like I said, Lagos is opening itself up as the lab to ensure that all of us are understanding how to manage and deal. So I think the most important thing now is that we can officially say, Mike, if I can, we do have a working group in our hands, and I'm very happy and I welcome everybody. I do also want to recognize the people who have joined. I do have the Blue Lagos team represented. They are the actors on the ground. I've got other independent professionals and researchers who are also on there. But additionally, we do have some representatives of the Chinese business community already in this conversation as well. And the reason is because we are looking for stakeholders. We're identifying stakeholders. We're very happy to interact. One fun fact is the Nigerian government has decided to build a coastal road that will connect 9 sub-national governments. That is the first of its kind ever. So all of the estuarine network of Nigeria will be connected by one major infrastructure that is ambitious and visionary. Hopefully, this is the kind of conversation this working group can be part of and lead and be involved in. So welcome again, everybody. I'm open for contacts. And then, like I said, we're also making this a key component of our Heritopolis-Africa engagement. I'm not the only one doing this. I've got Mombasa, I've got Kigali, and I've also got Accra. Dr. Maria, who will be speaking shortly, is one of our leading thought professionals on how to support heritage conservation development in the urban metropolis. Thank you very much.
Mo, who is, I know that Josephine is not available, so who is speaking about the program in Kigali?
Dr. Maria Panta, and she will just join now. Dr. Maria, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to
We
switch
can't
on
see
my
you.
video for. Okay, I'm going to switch on my video for 2 minutes because the network here where I am is not the best. So hello everyone. Nice to see you. I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you so much, Mo, for inviting me. And I thank, of course, Professor Josephine for asking me to stand in for her. My name is Maria Panta. I am based in Kumasi, actually, in the Ashanti region. I'm a full-time faculty member at the Department of Architecture at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology for the past 5 years. I'm also working on heritage, but for many years, starting from Cyprus down to Egypt, and now for the past few years, I've been in West Africa. I'm also a part-time lecturer at the University of Rwanda, where Josephine is based. So thank you very much. I'd like to share my screen, if that is okay. Let me see. Share. Okay. Yes, please. So I'm here to introduce to you a project that we've been working on for about a year now, I would say, or a bit less than a year, with Professor Josephine as the leader. And I'm part of the team. I'm the senior research associate in this. We are setting up a course, a master's course in heritage conservation for development. The latter part, for development, came very late into the process. 1 minute, please. So, as I said, I'm part of this team. You can see here the team members, or most of them. Josephine is the leader. We have Professor Jean-Pierre Bizimana from the Planning Department at the University of Rwanda, and Professor Nathan Taremva, who is actually a professor of forestry, agriculture, and food science at the University of Rwanda too. And of course, me, I'm an architect. I'm a heritage professional, let's say. And then we have quite a few research associates, industry partners. We have, and especially our industry partners, actually that include Mo and Abdulrahman, are very, very important as they form part of our what we're going to teach, and they have really informed the writing of the curriculum. So this master's is going to be situated in the School of Architecture and the Built Environment, but at the same time, we are not considering it to be related to architecture or the built environment only. We have sort of thought about it from a very interdisciplinary perspective, and so it has to be situated somewhere. And because Josephine is in the School of Architecture, it's there. But at the same time, it is much more broader than the built environment. I would say really much more broader. It is, as you can see here, it is number 2 priority for the University of Rwanda to pursue. As I said, we have been working on the program since last year, 2025. Initially, the core team members, the four of us, tried to do a lot of research on how this course could stand, what it should include, how we should address heritage in this continent. We made an effort to understand the meaning and value of what heritage may be in Africa. So what we want to see is, from an African perspective, which is massive, of course, because Africa is massive, what is it that we call heritage? What is it that the communities understand as heritage, if there is such a thing in Africa? There is, of course, and it's massive. So the MSc in Heritage Conservation for Development addresses the urgent need to build capacity to use heritage as a driver for sustainable development. Initially, we had included the word urban heritage, but we removed it after months of working on it, because we realized that the heritage in Africa is not only in urban centers, obviously. A lot of it happens in rural areas and between cities. So Africa is very, very rich in many things, much more than the built environment. So the course is an important platform to train students and professionals to develop the eyes to identify, value, protect, and activate heritage as living resource through conservation, development, innovation, entrepreneurship. We would like this master's course to be a leading Africa-centered postgraduate initiative that positions heritage as a dynamic force for sustainable urban futures. So basically, I believe from the research we have done, it is probably the only master's course in Africa, in this continent, that deals with these themes only. We did a lot of research on how to develop this course, how to set it up, and what to include. So to give you a brief idea of how we went about it, we have developed some core models, studio modules, electives, and final thesis. We did a lot of benchmarking research on both global and continental levels. And so we try to see what is there, what do they teach in Africa about heritage. Do they teach anything about conservation? Is there any course that really focuses on that? And of course, we needed to align with international policy frameworks. For example, the United Nations, the Sustainable Development Goals, the UNESCO Africa Strategy for World Heritage, Periodic Report for Africa, the African Union Agenda 2063, the Rwanda Vision of Heritage 2050, National Strategy for Transformation, the National Land Use and Development Master Plan, National Urbanization Policy, the Kigali City Master Plan. Of course, everything went in to inform what we would come to write. The guiding principles were mostly African-centered, context-specific, not global, but local. And local in plural, because we have so many local centers that we want to research and investigate and to get feedback from, get knowledge from, okay? So heritage is a dynamic and living process. Design, and by no means, design is not architectural, design meaning ideas. There's ideas design and research-led studio pedagogy. As you can see here, I'm sorry, I'm going through it quite fast because I would like to get to a point where I want to discuss some things with you. Perhaps I want your feedback more than anything else. The core principles were mostly heritage as a driver for development, heritage as a dynamic and living process. Studio pedagogy was a core point of discussion, and by that I don't mean only architectural studio, by no means. We mean broader studios that investigate culture or different cultures. They investigate heritage from the point of view of the case studies that we involve or that we come across. So here is a description of what we will include in this 2-year course. First year, we have core modules. We have one studio module that is very interesting. It's on urban heritage intervention and strategic regeneration. And we have another studio in the 3rd semester. It is on adaptive reuse, urban regeneration, and heritage-led development. These 2 studios, I'm going to reflect on Mo's statement of Lagos as a living lab, where we have actually thought of the studios as being in Kigali as a living lab. So students and professionals come together and think about heritage and culture in Kigali. They come together to work together, to collaborate from interdisciplinary approaches, because all of us come from very different parts of the world, I would say, and also very different disciplines. And we bring with us, I'm saying we as a student, we bring with us our background, our experiences, and our collaborations, our projects, in order to investigate further what is of pressing value, what we and the communities we work with consider as valuable to investigate further. We want to find out what is out there that has not been given a voice yet, so that we document, we explore, we observe, we interpret, and then we disseminate and we talk to audiences about it. Whilst we were, now I'm going to come back to the participatory workshop in Kigali that Mo also referred to. And the end of April and beginning of May, we were in Kigali. You can see the team here. We are all from very different disciplines. We came together to discuss heritage, to discuss the syllabus that we had written and get the feedback from all these people that you see here in this picture, and try to understand whether we have done something that is relevant and resonates with the community of African heritage professionals or not. What we actually understood, and the workshop in Kigali was an eye-opener, was that we had thought of the course mostly, and I would say mostly, not only, okay, mostly from a sites and monuments approach. And that was a very wrong thing to do because we're in Africa, and Africa is mostly green. If you look at it from an aerial point of view, it's green, something that Europe is not. So whilst in Europe, people look at heritage from mostly, I would say, in our discipline, sites and monuments, in Africa, it's not like that. If we are looking to find sites and monuments, we'll only find a few, well, like we have in Ghana, but mostly we have the natural resources. The natural resources are massive, and they're there for us to explore. They're there for us to create opportunities for improvement and improvement of livelihoods, for empowerment of communities, for empowerment of women, for empowerment of all businesses and innovations, entrepreneurships that may come together to strengthen an economy. Because we're talking about development. So during the Kigali trip, we had a workshop and we actually asked 3 questions. What is heritage? Why heritage? How do we decide what is heritage? What else came through were more questions, of course. Who decides what heritage is? Very important. Who gives heritage a voice? Do people really understand what they're looking at? That is the point here. Who benefits from heritage? Who are the stakeholders involved? And who should actually be involved? What is heritage? Heritage, what came through from the workshop is that heritage is tangible, also intangible. It's a living heritage, it's living culture. Heritage has a meaning and identity. Identity, belonging, and memory. So I'm reading through some of the themes that came through the workshop there. Social and community value and values, economic and educational values, heritage as continuity, governance, law, and institutional frameworks, participation and stakeholders, education and awareness, heritage, development, and livelihoods. I've highlighted the last one because we have started developing quite a lot of content on the last part because it's about livelihoods and development, and this is our aim, to discuss development through the lens of heritage. So this is what I wanted to present today very briefly. As I said, I wanted to make clear a few things, that the studio that we have proposed and suggested in our curriculum is not an architectural studio. It's rather an interdisciplinary studio that brings together professionals, stakeholders, I would say, from all sorts of parts of the world, Africa, wherever they come from. And they bring with them their experiences, their eyes, what have they observed, what they want to focus on, how do they see certain things, first in Kigali, and then, of course, in the broader sense of West Africa and West Africa and beyond, and then work together to produce professionals that this continent is in need for. We have some, but we need many, many more. That's all I can say. One more thing I want to say here is because I'm teaching at the university here in Kumasi. I'm mostly teaching heritage conservation and anything to do with the urban environment from a heritage point of view. It's a struggle here to get students to be interested in heritage. It's very difficult. Very, very difficult. There are some who are interested if you really try to open their eyes to certain things, but it's very, very difficult. So we are trying to get people to be able to see and see the value and meaning of what is in front of us. So thank you very much.
This is great. Oh, just keep the photograph back. Just put the photograph back, because we want to be able to say we can see Josephine to the right and we can see Maria in the middle. So anyway, just would like to recognize Josephine. She's the dean and she's the dynamo behind this activity, and she managed also to get from the Mellon Foundation a grant too, because it is so unique. It's such an important activity, and I thank Maria for this really excellent presentation, and also for Mo and Abdul Rahman of the Heritopolis-Africa of coming together in Kigali. I think this is really important, supportive. So first of all, let's have some comments. I saw Maria says, yeah, we need to look at landscape as well. I put in the idea of who are the different people involved in the quintuple helix. But I think that one of the things that Heritopolis should do is to really provide a backing to this innovative proposal. And for due diligence, I have to say that I am one of the evaluators or the external supporters of this program. So, but I think that whoever would like to be involved or would like to then have the possibility of providing for discussion and debate, I think this is time for making some comments. So, Maria, you wrote something about landscape architecture. Do you want to just add something to that, and then we'll Maria could afterwards to reply. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Maria.
Yeah,
Gabriela.
sorry. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. First of all, thank you so much. As I wrote, this is a very needed type of program everywhere, not only in Africa. But when we discuss about heritage, we, as you also mentioned, we are broadening the issue to not only to the build, but also to the immaterial and also to the natural environment. That's why I was pointing out that the consideration of having also the landscape included in this program could be an added value. Also considering what UNESCO, I mean, UNESCO has also included landscape as part of the cultural heritage. Then I believe that if you want to rethink about it, I believe landscape needs to be an integral part of also this master. But really, thank you for the work you have done. It's an amazing master.
Joseph.
I was struck by the two group photographs. In the photograph that's still on the screen, we see an architecture that is made with local materials. And in the other photograph, we saw an interior that is concrete and glass, that comes from a completely different technological and problematic way of building. And this brings to mind a certain number of themes. One of them is that, from what I understand, that many places in Africa where concrete has become a status symbol among people, and people are building more and more with concrete, whereas concrete is so ecologically unsustainable. And even with concrete, where one could build lightly, like Le Corbusier proposed with a structure on columns, people are building very, very solidly. So I think that heritage has to deal with current materials and past materials, and it should, in a way, possibly be an activist approach, in that there are so many materials which are neglected, which have such greater ecological qualities and cause far less damage than what is currently being used because of so-called modern techniques.
I would like to add, I don't know whether Xiaoyong is still on line, but I would like to also note that WITRAP, which is the World Heritage Institute for Training and Research of Asia and Pacific, have set up a network of urban heritage universities. And I think that this would be an important link which we should then develop. Xiaoyong, perhaps you could invite the University of Rwanda. Xiaoyong.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, can you hear me? Because my
Yeah,
network
yeah.
is not so, Wi-Fi is not so good. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
It's
can hear
okay?
you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Yeah, definitely. I think the University of is quite important for our UHC HEI network. This year's university or higher educational network, which was established last year officially. And now there is more than 40 universities have been participated in this network. And through this network, we would like to establish the joint research or the joint activities that to enhance um, the heritage education. Now, especially to fill the gap between the theoretical level and the practical level, because we have done a survey and also the exhibitions, etc., and we collected many data from universities, and we found that we facing the new challenges now, and we should re-establish or reshaping the heritage education in our higher education institute. So just I will put my email and in the chat group chat box, and so just would you please, Marina, that contact me, and we will discuss for the cooperation in the future. Yeah, thank you for your very wonderful
Yeah.
presentation, very clear and very, yeah.
That
And
was
also for the Estuary city, the the first presentation, and also because I worked a lot for the Huangpu River, the bond, the natural heritage and cultural heritage of Shanghai. And also, yeah, we have the working group for the with the African heritage, and so I hope that maybe we can also have more cooperation. Yeah,
well.
with
That's
Lagos and Mombasa, exactly. Yeah.
that,
Thank you, Michael.
yeah. This is really good. I mean, this is what Heritopolis is about. So, anybody else would like to? We're closing towards the end. So, Andrea, and then we'll ask Maria Panta to wrap up. Yeah, Andrea.
Thank you, Maria, so much for your presentation. It was really good to see the uh, how you copy not copy how you add the whole courses um, in, into the for students. And I would like just to mention that a little I find in the courses about tourism among the elected courses. I was so happy because in the development goals, tourism could be treated, I think, not always strongly, but one of the factors important for the development. And I would like to ask, or maybe suggest, to put a little um, attention, maybe to put tourism among the not the compulsory courses. Only a little thing, but maybe that can make place in the minds of young people, how tourism can create entrepreneurs, and at the other hand can influence can have great effect not only in the economy, but of course if we develop in a good good way and intentionally and well-structured way can really make positive effects. But of course, I know very well if is it not in bad hands, it can really damage the environment. So that is the little remark, but maybe you can add something. Thank you very much.
Sustainable tourism. Abdul Rahman, yes, you
Yes,
have the
yes,
screen.
yes, thank you, Mr. Anderson. I'm being part of the planning committee. I composed 7. I was really happy to transfer here. So it's a good thing for us to start thinking.
You're breaking up. We're having difficulty in. Perhaps you write the note in the chat. So while we're waiting, because we have time, and Maria Panta, you would like to. First of all, I also add thanks of everybody. It was wonderful, and also, of course, the whole team.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, thank you so much for all your comments. To be quite frank, all the comments have been taken into consideration, especially since the workshop in Kigali and since then. As I said, we're an interdisciplinary team. Yes, a natural environment and landscape is already part of the course, and I would say it's much more of the than everything else. When we had quite a few scholars from area, forestry, agriculture, we also realized that we ourselves were a bit too blind when it came to heritage in this continent, because, as you said, and you're very right, most Africa is green. And by green, we mean, and there's a green, there's blue. When you're talking about aerial views, you have more green than anywhere else. And if you don't address what you have, then what else are you going to address? Are you going to look for something you don't have just because someone else has coined it heritage? So we are trying to find the meaning of heritage from here, from this perspective, from where we are, and see how to give it a voice when it doesn't have, and understand how it could become an accelerator or a catalyst for the development that the people of this continent want to have. Development may have many meanings, but at the end of the day, Africa and the various cultures and various environments in this continent are in the hands of the people who are here. And they should be making the decisions. So, and you're right about tourism. Tourism may be detrimental if it's uncontrolled and not managed, obviously, as we have seen in many environments. But there's a need for tourism in many areas. Many areas have so much to show that that's a shame if there's no tourism. And there is no tourism because the voice is not there. If I have not heard of something, I will not go there. I don't know about it. But of course, if it's out there and I have a reason to go and visit, then the intervention has to be managed. So we're still trying to see who will be involved as a student. Hopefully some people will bring in projects that are related to tourism, and hopefully sustainable tourism, obviously, and see how to move them forward, obviously, yes. Again, sustainability is a contested area, if you know what I mean, because there are many meanings to sustainability, many meanings, and there are many levels of sustainability. So what exactly are we looking at here? So a lot of things are in question, of course, and which is a good thing. At the end of the day, we have people with very rich background and very rich context, as I can say. And we have a lot to explore. What is understood by, for example, public space in Europe is completely different here. completely different. I mean, if you talk about public space in Kumasi, you can't talk about a square. I'm just giving an example, okay? So we need to change our mindset and understand a place from where we are, hopefully within the place. So that's all I can say. Yes, but landscape absolutely is a very big part of it. Then the natural environment. Then we have, of course, tourism, a lot of it. And materials. Yes, we have courses on that. And it's not, the thing with this course is not instructive. It's actually interactive. So if we get scholars who want to further their field of knowledge or the field that they're active in, and they bring in materials and what they're researching, then that's what will come through. So it's not like, okay, we're teaching materials in this course, and if you fit in, then you can. It doesn't work like that in this course. We are actually trying to get wealth or richness from what we have on the platform.
Can I just sort of say we've got some 2 or 3 interesting people on the screen. Wiendu Nuriant, she was the minister in Indonesia for heritage and tourism, and I don't know whether she is still listening in. We also have Elena who put a note in on the chat, and Sophia, and they're representing ICOMOS Civi. So I think that we're trying to bring other people as well to support what you're actually doing, and that heritage is not something which belongs to the past, but it belongs to the future, and especially that we're making a big differentiation between the protection of buildings and what is about urban conservation and the role of the living city and what it is. Eleanor, you put something in the chat. Perhaps you might want to just simply say something a little bit more on that.
I want to thank you about what I have heard and what I came to know. I have been teaching students in urban planning for many years, and I've been teaching sustainable development and heritage preservation, and I know how difficult it is to make them really involved. And the only key I have found myself in this long process is to make them try to think how it would be possible to be active in changing something, just even if they criticize, even if they do not believe. We need to be meaningful with our messages about their own present day and about the future they could be contributing to somehow, even if they're critical to what we say them sometimes. So, yeah.
Maria, the last sentence to you. That's okay? So please bring our greetings to Josephine and the team in Kigali, and first of all, on behalf of us all, it was really a fantastic opening of the Heritopolis chapter. I just would like to end because we're just gone a little bit over time, but we can have another 3 minutes. We started 5 minutes late. Francesco, do you want to say a concluding sentence?
Well, Michael, I think it's you said it already, but I think I was very impressed by these presentations. Really, I think we are doing really an interesting advance. It's not just a group work. It's more an advance of the discipline. It's something that I really look forward for in the future to find in this group. Very new and innovative perspectives, points of view, and something that might change the way in which not only cities are interpreted, conceived, interpreted, but also how heritage actually should perhaps even revise its own paradigms and become something that is much closer to the planning and to the life of the people. This might also address what Elena was saying. The problem with heritage is that sometimes it's very seen as a kind of elitist, something separate. We have to reunify heritage and the city management process and the city politics project. So I think it's very, very important and very, very forward-looking. kind of work that we're doing here, and of course also with the other chapters. We have also interesting in Latin America and Europe, and now hopefully we'll have a chapter. So these chapters become really machine engines of transformation and innovation. Thanks to all for this.
Yeah. As I said, just Abdul Rahman in the Swahili pot, I sent you all the link to it. I mean, they are really speaking about the heritage of tomorrow. They're looking at language, they're looking at theatre, urban theatre, they're looking at the whole quality of life of urban heritage and its widest understanding. So I think, anyway. So we've just gone one more minute then, just to look at the end of the of our agenda. So there is, I don't know whether anybody would like to still go to the World Heritage Committee in Busan. We can provide then a letter of representing from Heritopolis, if you would like the possibility of being there. We will be presenting Heritopolis Month, which is Urban Month of UN Habitat, in October. But what is really more important is that we need to put on the agenda the subjects that we're going to be addressing at the research forum of the next academic year. So please feel we'll put it in our newsletter, which will go out over the summer months. But we're looking for new ideas, new researchers, something which you'd like to present during the research forum over 2026, 2027. And we do want you to think about UN Habitat, which has got a strategic plan for 26 to 29, which looks at housing for all. What we're challenging this is that housing is what we're trying to say to people is that housing is not just simply buildings and neighborhoods, but it is also life and heritage. So this is what we want to present. It's not easy, in UN Habitat that they're just looking at presenting this housing. So we have a very big challenge to make. The steering committee will be meeting the UNI, which is the University Network Initiative of UN Habitat, next month, and we will try to bring you information to this activity. So our next meeting will be the last Wednesday of September. We have July and August. Enjoy your winter break, your summer break, or your
break.
Your equatorial break. That is whatever you feel comfortable doing. So thank you to all, and Jay, I can now see you're on board. So I have our executive is Francesco, Jay, and myself. Jay.
Hello, Mike. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your nice presentation. Yes, it is very impressive for me because that we all know about a lot of the metropolis and then a lot of the characteristics of the republics for the developed countries, but not including the Africa and Latin America cases. So this is most precious presentation and just led us to understanding the African and then Latin American cases. And then I'd like to add one more comment that if you like to visit the World Heritage Committee meeting at Busan, please let me know. And you all already know that my email address. So just send me a message. And then if there are something you need to help, and I will be happy to assist you. Okay, thank you very much. And,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Maria, you've got also other emails. They will be all on the minutes, as most of you know, that we put out the minutes as quickly as possible, and all this will be there. And please follow up. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.